Good morning, people. Watchwoman 65, Lisa Boyce here. I have a story about this coronavirus. This is the first of probably about 3 or 4 videos that I'm going to be doing today because I got a spew of news that's out. But first, this one. The internet begins to shut down in Wuhan, China, to stop the spread of truth and hide the severity of the outbreak from the world. Now, this is off of Natural News. I'm going to read this. It says that during an interview Friday, former U.S. Army infantry officer, combat vet, and current U.S. Senator Tom Cotton reiterated his view that the Chinese government is not being transparent about the severity of the Wuhan coronavirus outbreak. He told Fox News' Laura Ingraham that Beijing's communist leaders were not updating the rest of the world on what Chinese doctors and scientists were seeing regarding the virus. I don't disagree that China's scientists and doctors can, in some cases, be world-class, and they can be professional, he said. However, they are sitting next to them at every level of government. A minder from the Chinese Communist Party, said Harvard law-educated Cotton. This was reported by Breitbart News. And I do not have any confidence in those party people allowing China's scientists or their doctors to speak freely to anyone outside of China, especially officials in the United States government, he added. Cotton is a member of the Senate Armed Services and Intelligence Committees. So you could say that when it comes to data on China, he's pretty much up to speed. And while he's certainly trustworthy enough, there are other sources making similar claims about Chinese government opaqueness, transparency regarding details about this virus. I had said this before. China is a communist country. They're not going to tell you the truth. Ever. They're a bunch of liars. They're fudging the numbers. They don't want people to know the truth about this virus and how serious it is. It says in Epoch Times reported this week, for instance, that Chinese authorities have begun shutting down the internet, which of course makes it more difficult for any information to get out. The internet connection in my home was cut off several days. I kept on calling the mayor's hotline, but nobody is taking care of us, said one resident in Wuhan City, the epicenter of the virus, according to the Times. The paper added, since February 11th, more and more Wuhan residences reported that their internet connections were down. Wuhan authorities have issued strict quarantine measures to contain the outbreak, including allowing only one person per household to leave their homes. The Chinese language Epoch Times, better known as CET, spoke with several Wuhan residents and found that some neighborhoods where there are large numbers of reported COVID-19 virus infections have had their internet cut off. Analysts and commentators say they believe Chinese authorities are doing this in order to restrict the ability to freely discuss what's going on with the outbreak in their country, especially in the city of 11 million where the virus began. They don't want the truth out. They don't want the truth out at all. Thus far, the Times reported since the outbreak began in December, some 70% of officially reported cases are from Wuhan City. The number of people interviewed by the CET said their residential areas began broadcasting messages over loudspeakers that were installed on lampposts that internet connections would be cut off beginning the evening of February 10th. Where I am is close to the makeshift hospital at the Wuhan International Expo Center, said one resident whose connection was shut off February 11th, along with neighbors who live nearby. It looks like everyone in our community lost their internet connection, he added. February 20, wait a minute. Others confirmed that their connections were shut off around the same time as of February 21st, had not yet been restored by the government. Such tactics are very often used by Chinese Communist government to hide the severity of information about emergencies from citizens and the world. As early as 2009, the Chinese government cut off the internet in the whole Xinjiang region and confined it to a local area network for 312 days. It uses this method to control people's speech. Wake up, people. This is coming here. What happens there is going to eventually come here. Cotton also noted on his Senate website that the Chinese government has also expelled journalists. The Chinese Communist Party is complaining about newspaper headlines while the Chinese people suffer and die from coronavirus, he said recently in response to a Wall Street Journal report that China booted 3 of its reporters. I wanted to give you that information. Now I got about 3 or 4 other videos that I'm going to come up with later on. But I wanted to get this out to you about what's going on in Wuhan. They don't want people to know the truth. And they're going to hide as much as they can. We're living in no, I take that back. We're not living in the last days. We're living in the last seconds. Like I tell people, I am no longer looking for signs of the rapture. I'm not looking for any more signs. I'm listening for the trumpet. Because that's about what's about to happen. I'm listening for the trumpet. I'm not looking for any more signs. We're about to go home soon, church. In the meantime, I'll be back on later this morning. Thank you.